Hi, Joe. How are you today?
Hi, Susie. Thank you so much for interviewing me. This is going to be
You're
fun.
welcome. Yes, I'm looking forward to it. It's great to see you again and to get this opportunity to interview you about your latest book, How to Be Twitter-tastic. Just a little bit, I want to say just a little introduction. Joe is a best-selling author, an illustrator, and internationally recognized marketing expert. Also the founder and organizer of the annual online event Promo Day, and also Writers and Authors blog. Joe and I met about a year ago through social media, and because we resonated with one another, I think we've become friends. What do you think, Joe?
Oh, definitely, definitely. And I love your books as well. Your Tweet books are so cute.
Oh, thank you.
It's
Thank
nice
you.
when you can match with like other children's authors and things as well. We have a lot of common ground between us.
Yes, we do. And I love your post about your children.
Oh, thank you.
I also think it's kind of remarkable due to the wonderful World Wide Web that you're actually 6 hours ahead of me. You're at 10 p.m. and right now it is 4 p.m. here.
Yeah,
So that's kind of cool that you can be friends so far away.
yeah, this is one of the things that I love about social media is the whole planet just becomes tiny because you can connect with people from all over the world. It's so easy. I mean, we're having this face-to-face discussion now. I mean, this is about as close to in-person as you can get. you know, it really is incredible.
Yeah, this is fantastic. All right, so tell our audience something about you before we get into your book.
Okay, well, I am an author and illustrator. I'm also a multi-genre author in that I write my own children's books, make children's picture books for younger children, so the under 8s normally is my area, because obviously having two small children myself, they're my big fond of inspiration, so a lot of my books are written for them anyway. And I also illustrate books for other people as well. So for example, at the moment, I've just started work on the 3rd book in the Jasmine Dreams series, which is for author Maria Rochelle, who we've just done 2. We did Jasmine at Work and Jasmine the Chef, and now we're doing Jasmine's Got Talent, which is going to be really fun because I get to do all doggies, kind of talent contest, things like be singing and dancing and everything. It's really good fun. And when I'm not doing those sort of projects, I love writing non-fiction books as well. As you said before, I organise Promo Day, which is an annual online conference for writers geared towards the marketing side of things. So not how to write the book, but what to do once you've actually written it. That happens every year in May. And then obviously I have as well the blog, which is the Writers and Authors blog, where it's all posts on pretty much anything that writers and authors might want to know. So that can be also the writing aspects, but also the book marketing side of it. I do a lot of stuff geared towards social media because I'm a complete social media junkie. I absolutely love social media. Like we were saying, it makes the world a much smaller place and really opens up opportunities. In fact, for me personally, I credit social media with a lot of my success because I really doubt I would have had as much success without it. Because I'm Brit, but I live in Italy. Most of Wales are actually in the US. So, you know, going on the whole international level, there is no way I would be able to reach so many people in the US without social media. You know, and also even the UK market, I I would have a much more limited reach even with them, because, you know, you'd have to go back to the days, which actually not that long ago, when you had to do in-person book signings and actually take part in the whole in-book events, which were difficult for self-publishers. You know, you had to be with a big-name publisher to even be able to set them up. And even then, you know, it was complicated anyway. So for me, social media has been, you know, a real gift. It's made my career possible. It's made me be able to get in touch with people like yourself, and, you know, build friendships and get to know my fellow writing colleagues and things. It's also how I met my clients as well for the books that I illustrate. All of those I met through social media, also through conference and things, the presenters, and all that. That's also, again, through social media. So, you know, my whole being a social media junkie is because I really do owe a lot to social media. Plus, it's a lot of fun.
It is a lot of fun, and I bet you having two small children also means that social media just really works for you. You don't have to travel as much. You can just, you know, work through, for instance, Twitter, which brings me to ask you about your newest book, How to Be Twitter-tastic, which I just think is a fabulous book.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Yeah, How to Be Twitter-tastic, I have a little printout here. The print version is currently in progress. That's the cover, though.
Okay.
See that there.
Yeah.
I'm currently working on the last bits of formatting for the print version. But the Kindle version came out at the beginning of this month, and it's been an international bestseller on Amazon. Several times over, actually. It's been in and out of the bestseller list on .com and also on co.uk. So it's going really well, and it started getting some really good reviews and things as well. It's doing really well with lists on Goodreads and things as well, where people vote for the best books in the category. I think I'm actually on a list for book marketing. I'm actually the second and third place, because my other book, which is about virtual book tours, I think is number 2, and How to Be Twitter-tastic is number 3. So totally dominating.
Wow.
We like that.
Who did you write the book for? Who's your targeted audience?
Okay, well, with Twitter, this book is actually the first book in a series of books that I'm doing, which is the Writer's and Author's Guide to Social Media. Because basically, I have a lot of contact with other writers and authors through my blog and the different events and things. And a lot of them, although they understand that social media is important and to help them get book sales and connect with their readers, they don't understand how to use it. Or maybe they do understand how to use it, but only to a certain point. So they're not really leveraging it as much as they could be. And so the book the whole series is designed for them, to sort of make it simple, because it can seem really overwhelming, because there are so many different features, so many different things you can do. Some of them are well known, and, you know, so it's a bit hard not to know about them. But then other things which can be really useful, they kind of get sort of pushed under the rug a little bit, and it.
Uh-oh. Are you back? I lost you.
Yeah, I think we got a bad connection. But I'll just carry on. The reason why I chose Twitter to be the first book in the series is because Twitter, for me, is the site where you get most impact. You know, if you go and control on your clout rating, where it gives you the breakdown of where you're getting the most interactions and engagement and click-throughs and things like that, Twitter is by far the best for return on investment.
Wow.
I think mine is something like 60% of my social media interaction is the best results are from Twitter. So like 60%. And it's not the site that I put the most effort into.
Really?
This is the thing, okay? I actually probably spend most time doing content and interacting on Facebook.
Huh.
Okay, Facebook, #1 social media site worldwide. You can't ignore it. And I spend most of my time creating the content that I put there. Twitter is by #2 time and effort actually to do it, but the impact that I get, the results that I get from Twitter are so much more. I put content on Twitter and it goes viral. And that's not necessarily the same thing for some of the other social media sites. Despite maybe putting more effort into them. I know it sounds weird, but Twitter really is a powerhouse.
How do you know that it goes viral? How can you tell that?
Because you can check, well, as with all of the social media sites, there's various different ways that you can actually check how effective your content is. For example, you can measure the number of mentions that you get, the number of retweets, and things like that. They're all good signals that people are, talking about your message. And then also there's the fact of using hashtags, which started out on Twitter and then they've just suddenly exploded everywhere else. In some cases get used incredibly the wrong way, because hashtags are not to be used on every single word in a status update. Very annoying, and very not effective as well. They're actually used to single out a couple of keywords to put them in front of the right people. Your people that are actually interested in the content that you're sharing. So that as well, you can actually follow the hashtag. So if you create a unique hashtag for your content, then you can just do a search on Twitter for that hashtag and you can see how many people are using it and tweeting about it. So even if they're not clicking the actual retweet on the tweet that you've done, or they're not tagging you as an @tag on it to mention you in the tweet, you can still find the tweets that are going out by using the hashtag. It's just another way to follow them. Then, of course, you have third-party apps and things like Bitly, which you can use to shorten your URLs, which for Twitter, where you have only 140 characters, is actually very, very useful to have, and completely free as well. But with Bitly, you can actually then as well control your stats to see how many people are sharing that link and things as well. There's lots of different ways that you can see how effective an actual tweet is. Anyways. Yeah.
Neat. I was going to ask you to name 3 things in your book that you think our audience might really get excited to hear that you've included. You just mentioned one. You mentioned the hashtag. Can you tell us 2 more?
Yeah, hashtag, actually, I've done a whole chapter specifically for hashtags, and there's examples of hashtags specifically for writers and authors as well. So that's a whole chapter on those. Let's see, what else is there? One of the things I think that makes the book stand out is the fact that I've included a lot of examples. So there's a lot of screenshots in there with examples of how different Twitter users within our niche are using Twitter. Whether it's in the section where it's how to set up your Twitter profile, so even from that, for how to leverage it and things like that, to actually how to tweet. Type of account that you have and things like that. So it's definitely one of the big plus points, because a lot of Twitter books, they'll explain things, but maybe not all that clear or whatever, whereas when you actually have the image there, it's a bit hard not to understand what the example is. So that definitely. Let's see, a third one. Ooh. I don't know if that's one big.
Lists.
The list. How could I forget about the list? Yeah, lists is a phenomenal feature of Twitter. In fact, one of the big problems with Twitter is the fact that people feel overwhelmed by it. Because Twitter, unlike other social media sites like Facebook, where you have to actually be friends with the person or whatever so that they can see your status updates, things like that, every tweet on Twitter is public. So, although there are some exceptions on how that doesn't get seen, but on Twitter, every tweet is public. So if you're following a lot of people, when you go and you click on your actual Twitter stream, you can have this huge sense of overwhelm. It's like, oh my, there's like millions, and it's updating every second, and I can't keep up with it, and things. That's where lists come in, because on the lists, you can create your own lists, which means you can break down your Twitter stream into categories. So you can have a list of authors. You can break down authors into authors of a specific genre. So, for example, as a multi-genre author, I would have a list for fellow children's authors. Then I'd have another one for fellow social media people, or for non-fiction writers, or whatever. And it breaks it down. In fact, in the book, there's lots of different examples of the kinds of lists and the sort of people that you would want to be following with these lists, and why. Well, that's all included in the book. But yeah, it's a really great way, because, for example, if I want to find out, for example, the latest tweets going out about publishing, I want to keep up with the industry. You know, as a writer, I want to know what the latest features are and things like that. I have a list which is for writing industry updates, which is basically where I keep a list of various different accounts that frequently post the latest updates that come out. So, for example, I would put Amazon in there. I use Amazon to publish my books, so I want to be the first to know when they have new features coming out. So I'd add them to the list. So as soon as they tweet, for example, the other day they tweeted about the new Kindle Unlimited feature that they've just brought out. So I saw it the second that went up. It was there on my list, and I had it. And you know, it's a really great way. If I just got that on the news stream without the list, I might have missed it.
Yes.
Whereas I had it on an actual list, I was able to keep up with it. So they can be a really, really great feature.
That sounds great. And I had not understood what to do with lists, so it was a real help to me when I read it.
Oh, good.
Yeah. I like your cover. Tell us a little bit about how you designed your, I know you did it. You designed your own cover, right?
Yeah, that's right. I'm a DIY girl. I do it all. Yeah, the cover is, again, that's this one right here. I wanted a design that would want to look good as a thumbnail image as well, because first I was releasing it as a Kindle book, and also when you're doing blog posts and things like that as well, sometimes goes up as a little as opposed to a big one, so it's good to have something that actually shows up nicely. I also wanted a design that picked up the colors of Twitter. Obviously, they have this nice pale blue on
yes.
there, so and I wanted it also to be a kind of neutral design, in the sense that as it's part of a book series, and I'm going to be doing other books for different sites within the series, I wanted something that would be easy to adapt for the others as well. So, for example, at the moment, I've just started working on one for Pinterest as well, which is going to be probably the second book in the series. And that's going to have, in the place of where on the Twitter one it's got the light blue, for Pinterest it will have red, for example, to pick the colors of the site and make it easily identifiable for people, because the whole color thing, it connects. So that's yeah, that came into it as well, and I wanted something where the text would be easy to read, it would be a non-cluttered design, because I don't like it when there's too much on there. You know, less is more of the time. It needed to be something easily adaptable for the series. I wanted to have the colors of Twitter on there as well, and I actually used this little one here is actually a free social media button, which is available on, I don't know, off the top of my head, I can't remember, but it's free use for everybody. So you can use it on whatever you want. And so I used that, so I'm going to be using one of those on each one. So that was, I didn't even have to make that little bit for myself, which was really good. But the rest of it I actually did use in Adobe Illustrator, which is the program that I use for most of my illustrating. When I do my children's books and things, I use that as well.
Now, Jo, with 2 boys, how many hours, and all this writing, how many hours do you really sleep?
That's a good question. Yeah, I have an almost 3-year-old, because in August he's going to be 3, my youngest, and then my other one is 6. So yeah, they keep me busy. And then at the moment, because we're on summer holidays, I have their little cousin who's 5, and so I look after her as well. So yeah, very busy. They are fortunately very good kids though, and so I'm blessed from that. They you know, they will play happily, nicely together. Not always, but I am blessed. I know they're good.
I noticed you didn't answer the question, how many hours do you sleep, though? We'll let it go.
Not many, not many.
Not many. Aw. How did you develop the idea that you wanted to do this Twitter-tastic book? And also, secondarily, did it require a lot of research, and where did you get the ideas?
Okay, well, I actually had the idea for this book quite a while ago, but I was busy. We're going back to like November, yeah, when I got the idea for the series. But in November, I was doing NaNoWriMo, where you write a 50K novel in a month. So I did, which I did. I won that one. So
Yay!
I was busy doing that, writing a thriller, psychological thriller.
Oh my goodness.
At the same time, yeah, very different from what I usually do. But yeah, I was doing that, and at the same time, I was doing Picture Book Idea Month as well, where you have to come up with 30 different ideas for children's picture books in the 1 month as well. So that was my November, and as it always is, creativity breeds creativity. So once you start opening the faucet for ideas, you just get them all. And I actually got the idea for the series then, but I was like, oh, can't deal with it now. Too much going on. So I put that on pause. And then shortly after, I did one of the Jasmine Dreams books from Maria. So I was busy illustrating that. And then I also released a children's picture book of my own as well, called The Box, which came out, that was April. So it was just one project after another, and so I had to put it on hold, despite really wanting to write this book. And so once I'd actually got those out of the way, I was like, okay, I'm not going to take on any new projects during the actual summer months because the kids are off school, and so I have less free time to actually commit to a project for deadlines and things. So I was like, okay, during that time, I will then deal with how to be Twitter-tastic. For me, actually writing the book, because it's an idea that I've had for a while, and being a social media junkie myself, I keep up with the latest info and things anyway. And actually in May, when I did the promo day event this year, my presentation was actually entitled How to be Twitter-tastic, because I already knew that I was going to be doing the book. So the research was at the same thing, because I try to keep up with the latest info and things on it anyway. I was pretty clued up on it. And the fact that the webinar I did was right after Twitter did the big redesign on their site, it meant that I had the bang up-to-date information on doing it. So when it came to actually promo day was over, actually writing the book didn't take me long at all, because it was just a case of I brainstormed basically my contents list. Table of contents as one of the first things I do, and that's basically my structure for the book. Because once I knew where I wanted everything to go in the order that it should be in, actually the chapters didn't take me long at all.
That's fantastic. You were already set up for it. You just were waiting for the right time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, along that line, I always ask authors, do you have like words that you live by, or a mantra or something that has to do with your life and your work and your writing? Is there anything that's kind of stands out for you?
Yeah, for me it would be, don't just dream it, do it.
Oh, that's a good one.
Something that I always apply both to my career but also to life in general. You know, if you want to do something, if you really want to do it, then you find a way to do it. You know, it's simple as that. If you really want it, do it.
Good advice.
Just dreaming about it, you know, isn't going to make it happen. You can dream about being a writer, but if you don't actually sit down and write, you're not a writer. You're just a dreamer. So it's whatever, and that goes for anything in life though as well. You know, you want to have a nice happy family, you want to go out and you want to do things, you want to spend time with your kids. It's the same thing. You don't just say, oh, I really want that. You do the stuff that makes it possible so that you can realize it. So yeah, don't just dream it, do it.
Great mantra. I love it. What was your favorite book as a child, and what are your books that you read now? That's my next question.
Now that's a good question and a toughie. I've always had very mixed tastes. I don't sort of stick to the one thing. I remember the book that had the most impact on me as a kid was Anne Frank's diary, which I read in school as part of a project. It was on the list of books that we had to read, and to this day remains one of the most powerful books that I think I've ever read.
I agree.
It hits you on so many different levels. You know, not just the fact that it's a young girl writing it, or the situation that she was in. Actually, it was a real situation. You know, it actually happened. It's so many different things coming in. So that's definitely one that has had a big impact on me, and I've read it several times since as well. So yeah, definitely that one. But as a kid, I used to love those choose your own adventure books. You know, where at the end of the chapter you get to decide, do you want to go this way or that way, and then you flip through the pages to find it. I read a lot of those. Also Judy Blume books, I used to love those. And the Sweet Valley High ones were all the rage as well back then. So I used to read a lot of those. And then now I read even more wider variety of books. I could be anything really. I like thrillers. I like mystery, crime, suspense stuff. I like easy read chick lit, you know, where you don't have to think about it. It's just a nice happy romance thing. They're good, particularly good when you've been stressed out with the kids all day, so you can just, you know, don't have to concentrate too much.
Yeah.
But really, I mean, if a book is easy reading, it was hard writing. So, you know, a lot of people sort of batten down these easy read chick lits, but, you know, if it is that easy to read, it wasn't that easy to write, for sure. So I read those. I read a lot of non-fiction as well, particularly to do with marketing and social media. apart from the fact that obviously it's useful for me in my career to know this stuff, but I really like social media and marketing, so actually as a hobby as well. I read those. I sometimes get sent books to review as well. So I've read Christian fiction, romances. I went for a phase. I was doing a lot of book reviews for Amish romances, which was really random because they're not the sort of book I would ever have thought to actually read. You know, I wouldn't have gone and picked them up, but the publishers kept sending me the books and were like, oh, we want you to review it. And I actually found some really, really good books in there, which is a lesson. You know, you might not think that it's your cup of tea, but then when you actually read it, you might find that you actually really like it. So I apply that to everything. So I read a lot of different stuff.
That's exciting. You're really well read. That's wonderful. Did you always
and a lot of children's books as well, because obviously with two kids, you know, we have everything from the Gruffalo. The Gruffalo is worship. It has like its own shrine in our house. We have all of the Gruffalo books. They're obsessed by it. So we have those, but I have some old like Enid Blyton books and things as well that sometimes I pull out, so that they have varied reading tastes as well. So yeah, lots and lots of different stuff.
That's great. Did you always want to be an author? And I've got 3 questions to go with this. Did you always want to be an author? How did it feel when you decided you were going to publish your first book? And how does it feel now that you've got multiple books in multiple genres out?
Wow, you ask good questions. Okay, first one, have I always wanted to be a writer? Yes, but I've always wanted to be lots of different things as well. So I'm one of those sort of people where it's not a question of thinking outside the box. For me, the box really does not exist. You know, I just go with whatever and do it. I have always wanted to be a writer. I've always wanted to be creative. So I'm not sure whether when I actually decided I wanted to be a published author. I think that came kind of late. I've always been writing from when I was really little, and I would make up stories, and you know, I get my pieces of paper and I'd fold them up, and I'd do the pictures, and I'd write the text, and right from when I was really, really little. But I think it was only later that I actually considered it seriously. I think 2006 was when I actually became a professional writer. Which was when I sent off an article for an English language newspaper, which is in Florence, called The Florentine. And it was really just, I'd seen an ad that they were looking for people to submit articles, and I was like, oh, that would be fun to try, you know, let's see. So I just wrote down this article and I sent it off to them. And then I got this email back being like, okay, it's going to be published in the next edition of the newspaper. And I was like, what? Wow. Seriously? So that was like, it gave me this boost of confidence. So I did another couple of articles for them as well, because they asked me for some more. So I did several articles for the newspaper. And then it just sort of hit me. It was like, I can actually do this. You know, it doesn't have to be something that I've just thought about, you know, in passing. I write anyway because I enjoy doing it as like a hobby, but I could actually do it. And that's when I decided that I would do Italian for Tourists, which was my first book. Which basically, because I was working with tourists at the time, I had so many people asking me to write this phrase book, basically. And so I was like, well, you know what, why not? Let's give it a go. So I did Italian for Tourists, and it kicked off so well that I developed it more. It started out as an ebook, and then I did a print version, and then when that was going through, I was like, you know, I got to do this seriously. And then I repackaged it all, and I did the pocket edition, which actually yesterday was a bestseller on Amazon.
Oh, wow. Congratulations.
Still actually So every month that sells. From when I published it the first time, every single month that sold. So that was really, for me, the big eye-opener, because I was like, wow, I've done it. I've actually done it, because I self-published that as well, because I'm one of these, I'm a real hands-on learner. You know, I learn by just doing it. And I'm also a major control freak. I confess, I do have a self-control problem. That I have to control everything. So for me, self-publishing was always the way I wanted to go, because I had a very clear idea of what I wanted. And so I was like, well, I'll do that. And then it's also one of the best ways to learn as much as you can about the industry. Because if you're doing it all yourself, you have to learn about the industry. You know, you can't take any shortcuts being like, oh yeah, my publisher will deal with that or whatever. You have to know. So I did that, and then because it went so well, I haven't looked back really. I've just been self-publishing the whole time, and I've actually turned down offers from some publishers because it was just like, well, why give away that much of my royalty when I'm doing this on my own? But you know, it's just for, I might consider going the traditional route in the future if I got basically an offer that I couldn't refuse. That I would definitely consider it. Also now, after having published so many books, I might consider it as well, just as an experiment to see the difference as well, to see if there is a difference with it. It would have to be with the right book. So I'm not sure. We'll keep that there for now. Put a pin in it.
I can see that, you being an experiential, hands-on learner, that might be something you want to try sometime. But I hear you totally about the control.
Well, because I have such a clear idea of a book. Every book that I've done, from the second that I get the idea for it, I have a clear idea as well about the title, the look and the feel of it, what kind of things I want to put in it, the whole package. And also because being of a marketing mind with it as well, even when I'm doing a book, my brain already starts thinking about the marketing side of things as well. So even from that point of view, like the whole project, for me, it's so clear in my mind that to make it that clear in someone else's, I'm not sure.
Oh, yes, that's a point. Because then when you have to work with an editor or an illustrator or someone else to get across to that person what it is you're looking for can sometimes be interesting or tedious. It takes time.
Isn't it? A lot of publishers, you know, they have their own people they work with for doing book covers and things like that as well. So even from that point of view, if they have a different view from it to the one that I have, I don't know. It's one of those that, you know, there's pros and cons to everything. And for sure, self-publishing is not for everybody. You know, not every author should self-publish. It happens to work well for me, and I like it. And, you know, like I said, I would think really, really hard before changing from how I do it to working with someone else. But it needs to be done right as well. For the reputation of self-publishing, it needs to be done right. Because
I agree. It sort of feels like you're having a new child when you publish a book. It's kind of like yours, and you want to own it and keep it, and nurture it and feed it, and that's what social media is about.
Well, they are. Your books are your babies. They're additional members of the family. You know?
Yes.
It's like what people say is like, you know, which is your favorite book that you've written? It's like, what? You can't say my favorite. It's like choosing between your kids. You can't. You love them all in different ways, but you love them all.
Yes. So true. So true. Okay, so we're getting a little close to the end now. So I want to ask you, are your books available for purchase now, and where?
Yes, all of my books are available on Amazon, all Amazon sites. So you can find me there on amazon.com/Jo Linsdell. That's my author page. So you go there and you'll find all of them on that. If you click the other books, you'll also find the books that I've illustrated as well. They're all on there. I have, in the past, for example, Italian for Tourists and A Guide to Weddings in Italy, I actually published through Lulu. So they're actually available through Lulu as well, and also Barnes & Noble and all the other sites as well. You'll find all the information. I've got my website, which is www.jolinsdell.com. And that actually has all of the links to my books on there and information about what I'm doing and things on it as well. Also, all my social media links as well. So, you know, you can come and tweet me and hook up on Facebook and things as well. It's all on there.
Yes, your website is beautiful. I really enjoyed going to it, and I captured your links, and I love Virtual Book Tours, which was a book that you put out last year, I believe, and it came out just in time for me to go on a virtual book tour. So it was so timely for my life and working with my books. And it was successful. It was very helpful. So I'm really loving Twittertastic, How to Be Twittertastic, Book 1. Looking very much forward to your next books in the series. I'll probably devour them. And I certainly encourage other people to take a look too, because they're well written, Jo, and they're clear and certainly incredibly helpful. So I thank you, and I'll also look forward to another one of these maybe in a year. You and I will get together. Oh,
that'd be good.
Actually, maybe sooner with my next book coming out.
Yeah, you got another one coming out, haven't you?
I do.
Definitely. I'll be having you back on my channel.
Yay, yay, that'll be fun. All right, well, that's it for now. I'm sorry to say goodnight, but I know you have to get some sleep. So bye, Jo. Thank you very much.
Thank you very, very much for having me and interviewing me, and thank you to everyone who's watching as well.
Bye.
Bye.